yesterday. AOC finally responded proudly concerning a high school yearbook photo that proves she grew up in a wealthy suburb. She said, "See, I told you I went to high school."
And I can tell you, I know that when I was waitressing and struggling to put food on the table, for a while there, I did. I tried to stop caring. I tried to just keep my head down, work my shifts, and accept that this is just how things are. But that is no way to live, Arizona. It's no way to live. What I do know is that we don't have to live like this. And in fact, we cannot live like this anymore.
Greg Gutfeld and Megyn Kelly ripped into AOC's political show and burned the whole thing down with sharp jokes and cold precision. Her fake outrage, viral stunts, and empty acts got called out like never before. From TikTok breakdowns to made-up economics, nothing was safe. This wasn't just a rough joke. It was a public collapse of the image AOC built on hashtags alone. And if you thought she'd fire back smart, guess again. This beatdown left her quiet and exposed.
Nonsense from like AOC that he should be impeached is just absurd. Absurd. There's no... Okay, get back to me when you've read the Constitution or get a law degree, because you sound like an... There is absolutely no ground to impeach the president. He 100% was within his constitutional authority and his congressionally authorized authority to do what he did on Saturday.
AOC. What? She's kind of fun in a silly but earnest, wrong but adorable way. She's like your daughter when she comes back from her first year at Brown, full of half-baked, half opinions, in need of some gentle, patient deprogramming. But people have to realize new faces doesn't mean new ideas. Drives me crazy. AOC has never introduced a fresh idea or issue in her life.
Greg Gutfeld didn't even warm up before jumping straight into his roast of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Just saying her name was like pushing a giant red joke button. Gutfeld lit up fast, like someone handed him a script marked endless material. To him, AOC wasn't just a congresswoman, she was a walking, talking political skit who somehow got elected and forgot to shut the laugh track off.
She's like an 80-year-old leftist in a used bookstore. I mean, she may look fresh, but she's as stale as an abandoned futon on the street. It's like, I listen to her, I go, I heard that at Berkeley in 1983. So their problem is, and the reason why they don't have any ideas is they operate on half opinions.
If you're enjoying this roast, hit that subscribe button now. He kicked off by mocking her odd habit of treating every Instagram live like a State of the Union speech, just staged for cats and ring lights. Gutfeld joked AOC could sit in a room full of real experts and still walk out clutching a fresh batch of bad buzzwords. He said her takes felt like reheated leftovers from a college protest. Warm enough to smell political, but never safe enough to trust.
So by now you heard that AOC, among others, were arrested last night. She truly is an American hero. It was brutal, taken out in cuffs. Well, technically, her shirt had cuffs. Maybe French cuffs, as she did surrender without fight.
Greg then hit her love for drama, saying AOC treated every Capitol Hill hallway like a runway and every fight like a shot at a televised meltdown. In his view, she ran legislation the same way a reality show contestant runs a group challenge. Loud, lost, and fully sure she's the hero, even while everything around her burns down.
As for whether it's a good idea, that's a debate we should be having. And look, if we could get congressional approval of the specific action, fine, I'm okay with that too. If you want to bring it to Congress, go ahead and see how that goes. I don't think it's necessary.
Then came policy. Gutfeld happily ripped into AOC's biggest ideas, calling them a mix of dream world fantasy and economic disaster. He joked a Green New Deal read like a 7th grade science project thrown together the night before, full of glitter, poster board, and zero real math. He compared her policy work to building IKEA furniture with no instructions, then blaming the chair when it falls apart.
Oh, let's do it. What happens? You have repeat criminals wreaking havoc. What if we have sanctuary cities? Hey, let's do it. What happened? Finding sanctuary, safe haven. What if we give trans rights? Oh, you just ruin women's sports. You ruin safe spaces. You make kids' lives hell.
He also went after her nonstop social media habit. Greg said AOC spent more time filming videos than a full-time influencer, with the added problem of skipping the facts. He pictured staff meetings full of filters, slogans, and someone preaching about carbon emissions while posing for selfies in an SUV. Then came the emotions. Gutfeld couldn't skip AOC's talent for public drama, saying she turned every vote she hated into a full Shakespearean tragedy, complete with a shaky voice and long dramatic pauses. In his view, when AOC didn't get her way, it wasn't a policy fight, it was the fall of Rome, just better lit. Over on another show, Megyn Kelly stepped in with sharp precision. Where Gutfeld brought fire, Kelly brought the blade. She didn't raise her voice or sneer, she calmly took AOC apart piece by piece, each one more painful than the last. Megyn called out the illusion of AOC smarts, pointing out how she repeated half-baked talking points with the confidence of someone who skimmed one article and thought it made her an expert. She noted AOC's speeches carried way more emotion than substance, like a motivational poster that somehow won an election.
There's a beautiful little town called Yorktown Heights in Westchester. It's not the fanciest of Westchester towns, but it ain't the Bronx by any measure. And the reason this is relevant is because a congresswoman who you may know as Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez has been telling us for years that she is from the Bronx. And recently she had a fight with President Trump over tweet, text, truth, whatever. And she played tough and said, "Oh, don't you mess with me. I'm a Bronx girl. And we eat Queens boys for breakfast."
Kelly mocked AOC's habit of swapping facts for moral outrage, saying she treats every disagreement not as a difference of opinion, but as proof of pure evil. According to Megyn, the world doesn't run on heroes versus villains. But AOC never seemed to get that memo, probably because she was busy staging another protest inside her own office. Then came the show politics. Megyn said AOC didn't legislate, she live-streamed, she didn't debate, she performed. She painted AOC as someone who showed up in Congress with a script, a spotlight, and no real plan beyond racking up likes. Press conferences, she said, played out like audition tapes for a dramatic role that only exists in AOC's head. Kelly also took aim at the green posturing, asking how someone obsessed with saving the planet could rack up more flyer miles than a touring DJ. She said AOC's climate talk had the depth of a bumper sticker and the steadiness of a forecast scribbled in crayon. Megyn then turned to AOC's love of outrage, noting how every headline became a personal crusade and every dissenting voice a threat to her world. In her words, AOC treated public policy like an endless protest poem, each line more over the top than the last.
But if her pants had cuffs, she would have pretended to be in leg irons too. But real handcuffs, not so much. But that didn't stop her from pretending. And I hate it when people do this to me. When I ask people to put on handcuffs and they say, "I'll just pretend I have them on," I'd be like, "Sure, and I'll pretend to pay you after."
Megyn couldn't resist poking fun at AOC's constant nods to her humble start, joking she'd stretched an old bartending job into a comic book origin story. She said AOC talked about it like she invented hardship, and half-joked the next campaign slogan might be, "From cocktails to Congress revolution included." Back to Gutfeld, who wasn't done. He turned to AOC's media wars, especially her long feud with Plain Facts. He joked she seemed to think questioning was the same as attacking her, and every fact check felt like a crime against her feelings. Greg said she took criticism with the grace of a toddler denied candy, loud, huffy, and dead sure she was the victim. He laughed at how AOC built a brand as the voice of the people while somehow dodging most actual people. To him, her idea of constituents meant online activists, short video thinkers, and climate protesters glued to sidewalks. He asked how someone so focused on working families spends so much time dressing up for magazine covers. Greg then jabbed at her red carpet looks, mocking those famous dresses as fashion statements made with the subtlety of a jackhammer.
Respectfully, AOC. Well, that's real cute, except she only lived in the Bronx until she was age 5, when at best you're in usually kindergarten, maybe first grade. And she spent the rest of her childhood, 1 through 12th grade, in Yorktown Heights, which is Westchester. And by any measure, it is richer, nicer, and more white collar than the Bronx, with all due respect to my friends in the Bronx.
He said AOC tried to play Robin Hood in designer shoes, stealing attention from real issues, while giving speeches that sounded like tweets run through a thesaurus. Meanwhile, Megyn returned to AOC's contradictions. She pointed out how AOC preached power while always claiming to have none, demanded accountability while dodging it, and called for openness while avoiding any interview without pre-approved questions. According to Megyn, AOC mastered the art of switching between rebel and victim, whichever camera angle worked best. She zeroed in on AOC's habit of shrinking hard issues into viral one-liners, saying serious debates got reduced to slogans, and anyone asking for details got treated like an enemy of progress. Megyn said AOC talked about capitalism like it was a banned villain, turning every economic question into a chance to blame billionaires while dodging basic math. She pointed out AOC's gift for launching movements with no structure and revolutions with no plan. In her view, AOC ran politics like a college club. Big talk, lots of posters, and no follow-through once the pizza ran out.
Of course, AOC was mocked on social media for imitating being handcuffed, which is a change from her usually being mocked for imitating a congresswoman. That's not even close to being as disgusting as I can be. She, in fact, was gingerly escorted away to a holding area where she kept up the phony display before finally raising her fist to supporters. She then crossed her wrists behind her back, again in the faux handcuffed position. It's as tall a tale as AOC nearly being killed on Jan.
Gutfeld came back swinging, calling AOC the queen of late reveals. He said she had a habit of recalling personal pain only after it became a trending topic. He mocked the sudden flashbacks that always seemed to line up perfectly with new bills or fresh media buzz. According to Greg, if there were an award for Best Political Improv Drama, AOC would win every year and still find a way to thank herself on stage. He also mocked her foreign policy takes, saying her global strategy came down to feeling bad, blaming America, demanding change, and offering no real plan. Greg joked she'd try to fix world crises with inspirational quotes and vegan recipes. Back to Megyn, who looked at AOC's quiet shift from activist to establishment favorite without ever admitting the change. She said AOC wanted the rewards of rebellion and the perks of power, all while pretending to stand outside the system she fought to join. According to Megyn, it was the political version of crashing a party and then complaining about the music you picked.
And now some of her schoolmates, separate and apart from Benny, are weighing in on her claims. I'll get to the Benny thing in one second, but there was a piece in the New York Post talking about how she's embarrassing herself. She's embarrassing herself now with this Bronx girl.
She mocked the stage photo ops, the planned outrage, and the constant cycle of drama that always ended with a tearful video and a fundraising link. Megyn said AOC had turned congressional work into an ongoing show, with each episode casting her as the misunderstood hero, bravely standing up to reality. Both Gutfeld and Kelly agreed on one thing. AOC wasn't an accident. She was a carefully built brand wrapped in realness, sold as a revolution and powered by Wi-Fi. They didn't see her as dangerous. They saw her as predictable. A script with costume changes. A protest sign paired with designer boots. Greg joked that if you gave AOC a week to write a bill, she'd come back with a spoken word poem and a playlist. He pictured her trying to pass laws using glitter pens and short video clips. In his view, AOC didn't stand for the future. She stood for the moment politics swiped left on substance. Megyn, sharp as ever, closed this round with a warning. AOC's biggest threat wasn't her opponents, it was time. Slogans fade, hashtags vanish, and eventually people ask for results. When that day comes, AOC will learn that likes don't pass laws, reposts don't fix roads, and emotional videos don't replace real work.
AOC was on 60 Minutes last night. Quite a feat for a newcomer. Must be all her great new ideas.
People are going to have to start paying their fair share in taxes. Once you get to like the tippy tops, on your $10 millionth dollar, sometimes you see tax rates as high as 60 or 70%.
What an expression. Now, the real story isn't AOC's very old ideas. It's the media's gushy view of her. Even with her old ideas, she gets on...
Still, they left the door open. This wasn't the end of the roast. AOC was still on stage, still performing, still soaking up applause from people who hadn't read the script. And as long as she kept talking, Gutfeld and Kelly would be there sharpening jokes, sipping coffee, and waiting for the next scene. Gutfeld jumped back in, pointing out that AOC's biggest win so far was turning every policy talk into an episode of stage political theater. He said she did just miss the point. She showed up with props, costumes, and a speech that somehow always ended in applause from people barely paying attention. According to Greg, AOC could turn a simple pothole complaint into a national debate about feelings, inequality, and whether the asphalt itself had privilege.
Let's check in on AOC and see what she has to say.
Any quick reaction on what's going on with Elon Musk and President Trump on Twitter right now?
Oh man, the girls are fighting, aren't they? I think this breakup we've been seeing a long time coming, but we'll see what the impacts are of it legislatively.
Okay. You're so cool referring to them as the girls. She's above it all, Ben. That's what she's trying to telegraph. You see, she's the adult in the room, the one out there who does a preacher accent. And she leans into her fake Latina accent. And she's the adult.
He took direct aim at her leadership moments, saying that whenever a real crisis hit, AOC showed up late, unprepared, and way too dramatic. He compared her style to a firefighter showing up to a blaze with a scented candle and a vlog camera. In his view, she cared more about shaping the story than solving the problem, and her fans ate it up like political popcorn. Megyn Kelly stepped back in with another sharp jab, focusing on AOC's habit of moralizing every issue while skipping the practical side completely. She said AOC was the kind of leader who could guilt-trip people into recycling a straw while flying to her next speaking event. Megyn mocked the picky outrage, the pattern of blowing up over online trends while ignoring the slow, dull work of real governing. She ended with a calm smirk, saying AOC's biggest fear wasn't being wrong, it was becoming irrelevant. Because in her world, silence isn't reflection, it's defeat. And as long as there were cameras, drama, and rehearsed outrage, AOC would keep talking whether or not anyone was still listening.